Being here on this. I'll start that again. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here on this beautiful July day in Seattle. Um, my name is Bindia Patel. I'm the Executive Director of Leadership Tomorrow, and we're really glad you're here. So thanks for making the time. Our plan today is to share information about we're going to do some quick introductions, an overview of LT, our programs, and the application process, especially for LT Elevate. The applications are open right now for that program. And then we're going to make sure we have some time for Q&A at the end where y'all can ask questions, and probably I'll sneak a question in for you as well, because that's how we roll at LT. Um, so I think with that, I'll just introduce you to my colleagues who are on the call. Megan, you want to just introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan. I am our Senior Communications and Operations Manager at Leadership Tomorrow. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks, Megan. And C. Marie?
Hi, y'all. I'm C. Marie. I will be your facilitator for the session. I am super excited to talk with everyone here.
Thanks, y'all. Okay, so I'm not going to read these out loud. If y'all made it to the info session, you probably know a little bit about Leadership Tomorrow. These are our mission, our vision, and our values that we really aim to live by every day. I will say a little bit about where I think what LT means right now. Megan and C. Marie and I actually just came back from a week in Omaha, Nebraska, where we came together with like kind of the equivalent programs across the country. So there was Leadership Louisville and Leadership Knoxville and Tallahassee and San Francisco and Baltimore. And it gave me so much hope being able to like see what these community leadership programs are doing across the country. The common theme that I kept seeing is they are bringing people together who want to grow, who want to connect with other people who are like them and who are different from them. And they want to make this world a little better from wherever they are standing. And so that's really what I feel like Leadership Tomorrow is all about, is building those skills, building the knowledge of what's going on in the region, and building your own connections to humans who want to make the world better. And so I feel like it was for me very tiring because we stayed up very late every evening, and uplifting and energizing because I got to see like it's not like we're doing it on our own. It's like every town has a community leadership program like this, and it was really, really fun to get to compare notes and ideas and ways of being. So I'll leave that there. The next slide, I think, is an overview of our three programs. So if you've heard of LT from years ago, Leadership Tomorrow Impact is probably the program that people have done when people say, "Oh, I did LT." That's the program that's been around for over 40 years. It's a 10-month program that really focuses on those skills, the relationships, and what's going on in the region. So if you really want to go deep into what's happening in health, what's happening in the environment, what's happening in the economy of the region, that program really focuses on how you can how you can learn about the region and elevate your impact in the community. Um, LT Elevate, which you're going to hear a lot more about in a minute, is our 6-month leadership program, which we started last year with some fabulous folks. They had such a good time; they wanted to keep connecting afterwards, which is a good sign. And that's more skills focused. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then LT Project Lead, for those of you who might be interested or know folks, is a 1-month training program for leaders who want to either who are new to board service and specifically aimed with focused on BIPOC leaders who are new to board service for nonprofits. And that is a super intense 1 month, 24 hours, every Wednesday night, every Saturday for a month. And you come out ready for board service. So those are our three programs. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to C. Marie to talk more about Elevate.
Thanks, Bindia. I'm off mute, all right?
You are off mute.
Okay. Yes, I am. Okay, that's beautiful. I love that. Otherwise, it'd be like, just guess what the program's about. All right, so I'm going to talk to y'all about the program structure. So here's how the program will go. And what I was thinking as I was listening to Bindia is this is the program I wish I had when I was in the middle management. Like, oh, these are the things I needed, but I learned the hard lesson. And so it would have been super fresh, which is one of the reasons why we created the program. And the other fun fact is all the photos that you see in these slides are participants from the last cohort. So these are not just stock photos. These are people in the session that just graduated. And by the way, I'm from the East Coast. If I talk too fast, like just go like this or something and I'll slow down. So here's how the program goes. We'll start with an orientation where you'll get the chance to meet your cohort. The cohort is usually 30 to 40-ish people. And so at the cohort, at the orientation, we will meet each other. We'll set our intentions. We'll start to build some relationships, try to figure out what it looks like to build some trust and some connection so that once we get into the program, you're feeling a little more comfortable about sharing and really comfortable thinking about how you want to show up in the program. And then we'll have these 6 monthly sessions, and I'll talk a little bit about each of the core contents, but each month we'll dive into a key leadership theme like communication, conflict, or change, which is the only thing that is relevant or that's is change. And we'll have interactive workshops. We'll do peer learning. There'll be guest presenters. There'll be tools. There'll be workbooks. There'll be videos, a little bit of everything in terms of those core leadership lessons around communication, conflict, showing up as a leader. So there's a monthly session there's a monthly focus each session. In between that, you'll also have peer pods. So the class will be broken up into smaller groups of 4 to 5, where sometimes when we do the activities, you'll work with that small peer group, or you'll do some pre-work or post-work with that small group. Outside of the class, if you need some support about, you've got this big question, this big project, something you want to talk about, these peer pods are something you can reach out to. And you can reach out to the entire class, but sometimes it's a little easier to get to know 4 or 5 people as opposed to 35 people, right, at a time. So the peer pods help you connect and help you with any of the work that you need to do. And so you're able to talk to them online or in person. We always love in person. And also your accountability buddy for your work and just your real life challenges. And then, believe it or not, before it goes so fast, we'll have a final reflection and celebration, a graduation in April. We'll wrap up this program, talk about your growth, think about ways that you want to continue forward, what new clarity and plans you've created for yourself in terms of what you want next in terms of your leadership, whether that's something in your current role or something expanding in the community. This is really about your leadership and how you show up and where you want to take it next. So you're coming in with tools and we're going to add to your tool belt. So that's the program structure in its arc. And then if you're really interested in a little bit more about the middle of the sandwich, so the program runs from September through March, and we'll meet once a month for 5 hours, or maybe it's 5.5. It's 9:30. Oh, it's 9 to 2:30. We changed the hours just a smidge. So we'll meet from 9 to 2:30 in our downtown office in Seattle. We bring everything to you. So we meet in the same place. The trainers will be there. All the participants will be there. We bring everything to you. Our sessions are grounded in equity and inclusion practices. They draw from frameworks from trusted leaders from around the country, and really shape to think about where you are in your leadership experience and how you can move forward. And so we try to make it super interactive, whether you are using some online materials in the class or actually even paper. I'm old school, like a little bit of paper, so I can pay attention to the people in the room. But those are part of the components to the program. And so what you see in the box are some of the monthly topics. So we'll talk about finding your leadership voice. So who are you as a leader? How do you want to show up? And then how are we talking, right? So the big thing around leadership that I know to be true is my communication style. And I think about how it's evolved over the years. And so we'll talk about how you can lead through communication, how to be even more clear and concise. We'll talk about identity, relationships, and conflict. The big thing is around conflict. It happens all the time. And this was so juicy last year. We made it a 2-parter. So it ended up being sessions 3 and 4, because people really wanted to know how to work through conflict. And the reason I bring that up is because the class will flex a little bit based on y'all's needs. We might add a little bit more or take a little away from the leadership topics based on what's really, really important to y'all in your careers right now. Session 4 is about managing up with integrity. And I say managing up, down, sideways, across, because we all have to manage the humans that we work. And sometimes I take the things I learn in the class and then use them at home, because sometimes you have to manage up at home, or sideways or down or somewhere. So the next session is around leading through change and innovation and how we can think about systems and find ways to be innovative. Even if you're not the chief bottle washer, there's still ways to lead through that and to think about how change happens and what it means for you as an individual. And then we wrap it up talking about systems thinking or organizational change. So really rounding out, I've thought about what kind of leader I am, how I'm communicating, how I'm dealing through conflict, how I'm managing, how I'm going to try to be creative and innovate within my organization. And what does that do within the system that I work and what kind of change I can create with the things that you can control, and really thinking and focusing on what you all can control. I'm going to stop there before I keep going. Any questions about the monthly topics? I'm doing a great job. Okay, you can keep asking questions in a minute. All right, I'll keep going. So in terms of the participants for the program, it's people like you see on the screen. So we're looking for people who are interested in learning, people who are able to create a trusted environment where people can talk to each other and not share, hey, this is what Jamal said in the class. People who really want to talk about their leadership values and voice. And so the ways that you can participate, right, are these ways in terms of building stronger teams, thinking about how you want to show up in this class, thinking about how you want to develop a cross-sector network. So when you participate in this class, these are some of the things that can help impact your leadership. Like, how am I working cross-sector? How am I having this adaptive mindset? How am I building stronger teams? Because if I can practice it in this room, I can practice it at work, and I can practice it across the different communities that I'm in. And so really thinking about how you can impact your leadership. These are some of the components that we hope that come through and did come through for this last year's cohort. So it's a little bit about how you can impact your leadership in the program. And then I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is who participates. I started talking about it before, but to go a little bit deeper. So this program is for folks like you all in this room. We usually have 25 to 35 folks, and they represent everyone. So for-profit, nonprofit, public sector, wherever you are in your career. Age ranges are 25 to 40-ish. It just depends. We had in this last year's cohort, I think we had someone who was 56 and someone who was in their late 20s. So it really ranges because it just depends on where you are in your career. And particularly if you're changing careers or want to change careers, this is a great space to hone up those skills if you're thinking about a move. In terms of the cohort, there's 50% of our class last year was people of color. So we really try to make sure it looks like the region that we know to be true. And they live around the Puget Sound area. So they live all around Washington State and come in for this class where we get to really experience each other in a different way, when you're outside of your office and have a few hours a month just for yourself and thinking about your leadership and how you're going to show up. And I think that's the goal, right? Is to just have this time to think about, how am I showing up as a leader? What do I want to do different? And then how do I learn from the cohort? I learn every single class from people in the room. So I've been doing this for a long time and I'm still learning. So I think you'll have that opportunity too. So that's who participates in the program and the kind of folks that we're looking for. Just really open to learning and open to sharing. And then speaking of that, this is me. I was about to stop talking, like, oh, wait, this is me. So speaking of what we're looking for, I started to talk about this, but we're looking at people who are committed to learning, people who are if we ask a question, someone's going to raise their hand. We're calling folks, but we want to hear from you all. You want to think about how you're a leader and you actually want to share some of the lessons and best practices that you have with the class, that you're okay with collective learning. And so we say collective learning, we're going to be in a group environment. And so we'll ask questions, which means the class has to participate so that we can all learn from each other. So just be prepared to actually participate out loud in front of other people. We'll never call on you, but again, just prepared to share, because we want to hear from you all. You've got some great information that we want to share and have some alignment with LT's values. We want an inclusive spot where people feel comfortable and ready to share. So we're looking for candidates who are open to that and are willing to align with our values in terms of how we're showing up. You don't have to be the same, but aligning with how we're going to show up and create a trusted space for each other.
Thank you, C. Marie.
That's who we're looking for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk very quickly about tuition. So we offer tiered tuition pricing to encourage broad participation and also to reflect LT's commitment to equity and access. In addition, we also offer payment plans. So if you don't want to pay all of it up front in September, you're welcome to break it up across the 6 months. So tuition runs from $1,000 to $3,000. And when you are applying for the program, you will just select which option reflects your household income and whether you would prefer to pay at once or if you'd prefer to pay via those monthly installments. The other thing is a lot of employers will pay for this. So I encourage you to reach out to your manager to see if they will pay for the whole thing or part of it. So we're really flexible with our tuition invoicing. So if your employer can pay for half and you can pay for half, I'm more than happy to send you two invoices. So just let me know. We can work with you on that. And then the next slide is, so just a quick reminder that, so priority registration is actually this Friday, July 24th. So please, if you are wanting to participate in the program, I recommend that you submit your application this week because we are filling up. It's first come, first served. So I definitely recommend applying by this Friday. If you can't do it by this Friday, that's okay. We will keep the application open through August, assuming we have space. And then we kick off the program in September for the orientation that C. Marie talked about. And then I think it's just time for questions.